Hey guys, and welcome to the third installment of the audio commentaries, which are more than audio commentaries this time because we're filming them. So that's a fun bonus. You can check out the other two that I did for the previous releases in the description if you're somewhat inclined. So this one's kind of different because I wrote this one all by myself, so I don't really have maybe as many anecdotes as I used to with the other songs. Firstly, before I dive into what the song is about, how it came to be, all of those things, I want to first get maybe the biggest preconceived idea, just bash it on the head. I don't hate men. This is not what this song is about, okay? I love men. Men are great. That's not what this track is about. Men, I'm using it in the almost like the biblical generalization of the human race. There we go. Now that I've clarified, let's move on. So I wrote this song in January of, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, probably 3 years ago. I was still living on the outskirts of London. I remember, I know that January's supposed to be the whole, new year, new me, everything's different, I'm a good person, I'm better, everything's cool. That's not me. I have a thing called SADS, which I know a lot of people have, and it basically means that when the seasons change, so do my moods. So you'll probably notice that in the summertime, I'm a very happy-go-lucky soul, and not that I'm not in the winter, it just means that when depression comes, she comes in hard and she hits me really hard. So I was in the midst of one of those episodes and it doesn't really stop until maybe March, April time for me. So I was very much in that. This time it was kind of different. I'd never really experienced a level of paranoia that I'd never had before. I felt like, because I hadn't really heard from my friends. I'd only really seen my family. I'd been cooped up in my parents' house for the whole of that Christmas, because when you don't drink, smoke or do drugs, it's not a lot of fun to be had at the Christmas season. You're like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and watch Christmas movies, apparently. All right. So I brought myself even further down, really. So because I hadn't had any social interaction with any of my friends, I hadn't even spoken to my teams yet. I was stressed about moving because at that time I was starting to look at houses in London and do that big shift in my life. So I was stressed, depressed and all of the things. And yeah, I remember this was written, I'd woken up the day after I just landed, and I was back in the house. I was on my own. I had Eugene and my guitar with me and I just was sat on the floor, being my good old miserable self, just mopey old me, just sat there like, everyone hates me, the world's against me, why is this? And that's really how the song came to be. So this song's a bit different in the sense of, usually when I write songs on my own, it either goes one of two ways. I either write incredibly upbeat, happy-go-lucky stuff, or I'm example A, honest men. There is no one there to rein it in and go, hey, that's a bit morbid, Janet, let's not do that. So this was definitely where I let my brain go to the dark place, and I well and truly did. I didn't get bored because I opted for Eugene, which is my ukulele. Picked very peculiar chords. There's a lot of weird changes in the song anyway. And I just embraced it. So that juxtaposition of these really morbid lyrics and the ukulele was enough to make me giggle and enamor me enough to finish it. So it wrote itself, basically. It was done, oh my God, it didn't even take an hour to write because I don't change melodies or anything in those verses. I originally wrote 4 verses. So I just wrote the one, wrote the chorus, and that meant that I just spent an extra 10 minutes at the end just making the other verses, and then it's done. Because I knew I wanted the song to have a weird outro, not a middle 8, nothing like that. It's just becoming a common theme for me. Maybe I'm just lazy and I don't like middle 8s. But I just wanted the song to go somewhere different, so it wasn't just a stereotypical this track. At the time as well, I think this is really clear in the song, if you're a philosophy nerd like myself, at the time I was listening to not only like philosophy podcasts, I was watching YouTube videos from like philosophy lectures from universities in America. So basically I was studying philosophy for the funsies, and I stumbled upon a lecture that was about Diogenes, who is the most trolly philosopher ever. The man lived in a bathtub. He was a weird dude. But what inspired me for this song was he had a lantern, and he would, in broad daylight, shine it in the faces of people walking past him. And he would say, "I'm looking for an honest man," being obviously a massive joke. So that story really stuck with me. And that's where the whole honest men idea came from. Okay, so really briefly I want to talk about the recording process at RAC. We had a whole day basically for this and another song. I won't talk about the vocals because they were done super quickly on a random vocal day. I want to talk about the extras, the touches. So we did the piano in Ireland, all done, all cool. Jonathan did that. On the little day that we did, I had a choir. I had Jonathan's kids there. I had a few friends, even like my manager and some players that I know in London, just vocaling, just singing on the save me bits, the save me. They all jumped in and did that. As far as those BVs go, the ones you hear me, I'm kind of all over the place, they were literally done a few days after I demoed the track up at Rapsons. They're all over the place and they're wrong. I recorded them here. There's like, save me, please save me, won't you? Everywhere. You even hear my little all the way like up in the nosebleed section there. My vocal range is in there too. And surprisingly enough, the actual arrangement of the track never changed. It stayed the exact same length for the whole thing. All that was really done was piano was changed a bit, we added a beat, added a scratch, bit of atmosphere and those vocals and things, but it always stayed really true to just a moody song, which is quite cool and quite unusual because normally there's quite a lot of changes that you have from maybe the demo to release. So it was good fun. Definitely good fun. So shout out to the members of the RAC rabble for coming in and singing on this one. So diving a little bit more into the song lyrics that are like a million metaphors deep, I want to, before I do that, reiterate this point that this is where my brain takes me when I'm in a state of severe depression, not just my normal depression. This is like A-class depression, like my worst of worst. And it's not my everyday thing. I'm not sat on my bed praying for death to come and get me. However, like I have done that in the past. Like that's where my mind has wandered to. Luckily nowadays I have good tools in place that mean that my brain don't go there. But when they've went there in the past, they've been pretty dark. So talking about that, there are lyrics that are a bit darker, which, for example, where has all my happiness gone? It disappeared the moment I sang your song. So this is reference to times where I've gotten really depressed and I'm like, oh, maybe the last time I was happy was before I ever sang your song on TV, which is not true. Again, when you're really sad, your brain like tricks you into thinking these things like, you know, maybe if I didn't go on TV, I'd be happy. No, because I was really sad before I did TV, so don't worry. Also, I'm in a good place now. Let's like bring it back to that. Don't worry, I'm all good. There's this whole I'll be buried in this noose. It's written in the books. Written in the books is reference to the lyric books I have that I write my lyrics in. They're also a journal, so sometimes I write really over personal inserts in there and also the book that I wrote as well. So it's both of those. I'll be buried in this noose is this idea that I'll be buried in that name that I made on TV. And that's more of a frustration, I suppose, when you get that comment that's like, you've changed. It's like, thank you. I'm very very glad I've changed because I don't want to be that person that I used to be. But when you're in a, again, bad mental headspace, you're like, oh, maybe I have changed in a negative way. Maybe I should go back to being a scared little 16-year-old and have anxiety attacks. No, absolutely not. But again, this is where your brain will take you if you let it wander there. It's bizarre. I'm not going to unpack all of the lyrics. I'll let you guys have a little bit of breathing space, but I've pretty much done most of the big ones. I want to also point out, like, all of the songs I've put out, this wasn't supposed to be a song that I was even putting out. Because let's face it, why would you ever release the saddest song you've ever written? Like, this sad. It's not like relatable sad in the sense of like, oh, here's a breakup song. Which, fun fact, there's no love songs on this record. Like, I don't have a muse. It's all me. It's all indulgent. But this isn't, shall I say the term, commercially viable as a track. I don't know, we'll see. But I didn't want to release that song for those reasons. I wanted to release this because, one, making the most of the fact that I'm an independent gal and I can do what I want. Luckily, when I said to people that I was considering releasing this, they were all very, very supportive. Thank God. Because it is dark, it is very miserable. And I know, I'm so sorry for releasing this in January. I know that people are like myself and they're already bummed out. But let's be bummed out together. I just couldn't not release it in January, considering I'd written it in January. I thought it was, I don't know, a weird tilt of the hat to my very sad, depressed old self. So I wanted to. But also, I wanted to get it out of the way before I pick the mood back up, because the song after this will not be this sad. Don't worry. So this is just me, like you do at a gig. You know what I mean? You start here, you bring it all the way down, you take it right up. It's that kind of idea. And probably by the time you see this, the music video will have been made, which is hilarious because I'm currently in the process of discussions like, did I paint myself gold? Let me know in the comments below. Did I go all out? I don't know. I remember there was petals involved, there was a lantern involved, and there was gold body paint. So I hope that worked well, future Janet. I hope you got the gold out and I hope it happened. But also, I want to point out one thing as well, that not only was this not supposed to be a release, the song, when played to people originally, it didn't really have a big fan club because it didn't make sense on a ukulele. It sounded like weird chords with miserable lyrics on a happy instrument. So when I took it to Mark Rapson, who you will have seen in the Saint of the Sinners live version, because he finally showed his face. He's in there, he's playing keys. I took it round to his house because at the time I lived very nearby, and we unpacked the song. He loved the song, which was great. And when you hear on a stable, sturdy instrument like the piano, it all made sense. It showed that when played on the right instrument, a song can totally change. So the piano almost like welcomed how sad and depressing everything was. And it's funny, like even the BVs that I recorded, some there and then some at the studio that I'm in right now, they're actually still on the track, which is kind of unheard of, because normally, you know, you redo things to make them better. It didn't see the point. I liked how all over the place they were. Like literally Jonathan, the producer, just kind of went tidy, 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 tidy in the computer. I was like, oh, I really like them actually. Let's stick with it. So we did. Again, the song was half recorded in Rack and then half recorded in Ireland. Like I love I think it's Gavin who's on it. He's got this big gospel voice in there doing the notes that I could never in a million years dream of reaching. He really brought a lot to that track as well, because I wanted this whole idea of, now hear me out, in my head this song is supposed to be like, you visualise that the prisoners who are all like chained up together on the highways, you know, like cut in stone, they used to sing songs, and that's kind of what I wanted the whole thing to be like. Where have all the honest men gone? Kind of thing, which hopefully you can hear in the song. I don't know, could be me just in my over conceptualizing brain who likes to paint pictures like that for myself to make myself happy. Hopefully you hear it as well. But it was a really fun song to record. I like that I wrote it because I would never, if I was in a session, if I turned up and I had a writing session, I don't think I ever would have written a song, one, that's sad, but two, I never usually go that low vocally because, I don't know, it's not something I think of using in a room. So I think I was ill. I was ill as well when I wrote the song. Funny that. I had a chest infection, so my voice was naturally lower as well. So I'm glad I did. I'm glad I stuck with the low notes. I'm very happy that on the day I was able to hit those low notes because it's lower than you think. Give it a go if you ever want to try and sing it. But yeah, all in all, I love this song. I'm very proud of this song. I'm happy that I stuck out the writing for this song. Like I said, I do normally get very bored. But I'm proud of myself for sticking something out that was just a brainchild of my own. So I'm happy. Which also just gives me more room to be weird in the music video, which I'm sure you'll have noticed. So on that, I've covered everything really that I think is of interest. I could tell you what flavour the tea was, but sure, that's no fun. And again, let me just end this by saying, just in case, covering my butt, I don't hate men. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk. But seriously, I'm sure the song is out or it's about to be out, so either pre-order it or buy it and stream it. All of the fun stuff. I'd really, really appreciate it. Like, this is a big venture for an indie gal. And it just, I can't emphasize enough that one person streaming, one person buying, these things really, really do add up. So it's not like, you know, whenever people, when it comes to like voting, they're like, my vote won't matter. Your purchase does matter. It really does. And it really does mean the world. And I can't explain the little butterfly feeling I get when people share on their Instagram stories that they've got the song or that they love the song, or just that support really does mean the world. And never in a million years in my life did I ever expect people to be, I don't know, buying shirts with my face on them or mugs or whatever merchandise that I've come up with that's a wee bit mental. I never ever could have imagined people buying that kind of stuff. So that's a wild ride in itself. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you for your continued support. Thank you so much for all of the love this project has received so far, because it has been 4 or 5 years in the making. So it's been a proper love child of mine, like a little brainchild. So the fact that you guys are loving it and it's being received really well is a dream come true. And that sounds cheesy and I don't care. I'm sticking by it. So I hope you really enjoyed the song. Please let me know in the comments below what you think about it. That would mean the world. But again, thank you so much. And I hope you're having a happy day. So, all right. Bye.